come and see call with Ela this morning, and it's this morning for us, but it's late afternoon for them. So welcome everybody, and I'm going to be just doing a little hosting for this, but the majority of this call will be a presentation by Ela. I just want to also introduce Trisha. She's not going to be doing a whole lot on this call, but she's the reason that we have this relationship with Ela. Trisha is what we call our connector missionary. That's the word we use in this context. She has worked alongside Ela and is Canadian, but spends, apart from the unusualness of this year, a lot of her time with Ela in Uganda. And she's the one who introduced us to this wonderful team. They have a presentation prepared for about all of what they do. So rather than me give you a brief description of it, I'm going to just hand it over right away to Benson, who is the executive director for Ela. And Benson, I'll let you introduce your team. And without further ado, you can go ahead. Thanks.
This is definitely a wonderful day that I believe God ordained for each one of us to be part of it. And immediately when we joined together, quickly I felt in my heart a very wonderful statement that says, unless two people agree, they cannot work together. And I know certainly each one of you spared your time because in your heart, you chose to walk with us. And walking with us as Ela Uganda, you're not just walking with the people you're seeing on the screen right now. You're walking with the people who are right behind us. And those are people that we are speaking on their behalf. There are people who cannot speak for themselves. There are people who are down there that they need your prayers. They need people to validate their suffering. They need people to listen to them. And you've agreed to work with us. And I say, thank you so, so much. Not even to waste time, I want to surely speak to each one of us who are listening there. Right on my right, I don't know if from that side is your right or your left, but Ruth is right next to me here. She is the human resource for the organization, and maybe she can say hello.
Hello, I am so honored and humbled to be in this meeting today and to have you all attend. Thank you.
And thank you so much, HR, and definitely also very key role in the organization. I have Francis, who is on my left, and he is in charge of operation, making sure that our programs and activities are in place. Francis, please.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for really honoring this opportunity that you have given your time for us. Thank you so much.
Yes, and I've introduced the team, and I believe perhaps this is the opportunity that I may start sharing about I Live Again Uganda. Can I move ahead, Laura, and begin to share with the team?
Yes, please go ahead. Do you want the PowerPoint presentation pulled up now?
Yes, please. Can you put forth the presentation right? Of different skills, different abilities and all that. And I definitely say thank you. Right in front of us, before you, you can see on your screen, I Live Again Uganda in partnership with IAFR Canada. First, before I even move ahead, I want people definitely to understand I live again. What does it mean to say I live again? Some of you are not aware, if we mention Uganda, the first thing that comes in the mind of so many people is Idi Amin. Idi Amin was a dictator that ruled Uganda in the 70s. And many people, Uganda is put in the map of the world majorly because of that. But beyond just that, good governance. I want to do more of democratic country. They always say it is our opportunity as a country, as a tribe, to rule over the nation. And in 1986, another tribe took over power through guerrilla war in Uganda. And after taking over as the president of the country, and for some of you, since the 1986, we have not had another president except the same one. So for over 35 years, we have had the same president. So what happened is immediately in northern part of the country where I was born and raised, a rebel group was formed. And a rebel group that was formed, they came up with ideology that they want to rule the nation using 10 commandments. And they gave their name as Lord Resistance Army. And from there, they begin to abduct children and turn them to be child soldiers. And they would mutilate, even cutting of the lips of the people. And brutality became so harsh in our country, especially in northern part of the country. And over 1.2 million people were forced to be displaced into internally displacement camp. We lived in camps. Even when you can see your village from a distance, you can go to your village for 10, 15, 20 years. We depended on food from United Nations World Food Program. And people live as if there is no life. And some of the children begin to escape from the work of being a child soldiers, coming back to integrate with the families. And yet, these are the very family that they were forced to kill. The rebels would make forceful killing, where people kill their own mothers, people kill their own parents, people kill their own family members, and they would destroy their own village. And when people come back and they survive from the rebel activities, they came with the deep trauma, the memory of what happened in their lives. And people begin to live as if there is no tomorrow. People did not care about anything. So we sat and begin to realize there is a need to help the people of northern Uganda, my tribe. And the idea of helping them in the mental health, especially in the trauma counseling. So that is where the idea of helping people, rebuilding their lost life, giving them a hope which was lost, and giving them identity that was lost, which I would bring forth in the next slide. Surely what happened? People want to live again. So the name I Live Again came to help the people of northern Uganda to have a new hope, to have a new identity, to have a new purpose, a healing that they have desired. So as you look at the slide quickly, I would talk about it. We are a team of Ugandans. People, we want to see that what can we give back to our own people, even as we survive the war. So as we go to the next slide, you will see that surely as people from northern Uganda, we are dreaming of something very important. We are dreaming of a world where everyone has healing, hope, and identity. And I believe that vision is very possible if we join hands together. So a vision where we are heading to, we have something that gathers us together as a mission. So in the next slide, you will definitely see the mission of I Live Again Uganda. The mission is very clear that we want to give hope to the victims of war. We believe everybody from northern Uganda is a victim in one way or the other. victim in which way? Directly or indirectly. Everybody that is in northern Uganda has a story behind them. They have been a direct victim, or indirectly they have lost people around them. So we want to give them a new hope in their lives because they have been through war, through holistic restoration. And we believe that people who have gone through war, they don't live a life which is a fulfilling life. We want to help them to begin to live a life of purpose. So our mission is very clear: to give hope to the victim of war through holistic restoration and to encourage those we serve to live a life of purpose. So the next slide definitely will give you a detail of what we do. This is very keen to us. Trauma counseling. When we go to help people in the areas of trauma counseling, we realize one thing. There is something that happened in the lives of people that we use analogy that is unique. We call it snake bite. We say nobody dies of any snake bite, but people die of snake poison. And that poison is the one that kills you. And as we begin to explain to them, we say, the shooting that you kill somebody is like a snake bite, but the memory related to the action that you did turns out to become a poison within you. And that poison, the memory from what you have seen, from what you have tested, from actually the senses that we have, become the source of the poison in your life. So as we continue to bring healing to them through our trauma counseling, we realize one thing. People begin to ask us, where was God when these things was happening to us? If God cared about the people of northern Uganda, why did he allow this thing to happen to us? I cannot forgive them for what they have done to us. And we realize that the people have a belief that there is a God that would have done something more powerful to stop what happened to them. And as I Live Again Uganda, we come to help them answer those questions through our discipleship, faith-based support. So from trauma counseling, where the mental health focus, we go to discipleship to help them. Because of the war, people, even as we lived in internally displacement camps, there were small detached, which is the army to come and protect the people. But the overwhelming number of people in the internal displacement camps, the soldiers sometimes were not, the number wouldn't protect the vast number. And people, the rebels would still come and attack the IDP camps and still abduct children and still do killing of the people. And people decided to even run from northern Uganda and seek refuge out of northern Uganda to central part of the country, which is our capital city of Uganda, called Kampala, and settle in a place called Acholi Quarter. This place is a slum. Very, very, very devastating. When you look at it, the survival of the people in that place is so harsh. They depend on stone quarry, and the stone quarry is not on the mechanized system of breaking stone. Just with their hands, they break stones, and literally in a day, they make less than $1 to survive, which is so harsh. And people live there for over 20 years. And many of them want to go back to their own villages, but they don't have capacities. So I Live Uganda, where our operation manager, Francis, is heading, that is very much focused. It is his heart to resettle people. So we resettle them back to northern Uganda by providing the basic things like housing, not a complicated housing, the normal grass thatch houses, which is normal to the community setup. We provide food, we provide seedlings, we provide more of tools to help them start a new life. So we call it more of supporting them with a net or a hook other than giving them fish. And then the next thing definitely we do is community development. Because of war in northern Uganda, community are suffering. People want to see development in their community. But in most cases, we see, which is an error in international bodies, they just say, we are going to help Africa, we are going to help community. What they need is school, what they need is hospital, what they need is clean water, what they need is this, which really is more of giving, handcuffing the people from the choices of what they see as a need of development in their community. And we realize that many people will come to see that the problem that is hindering development in our community is maybe alcoholism is very high. So we need to fight alcoholism in order to help people rise up into development in their community. We want to see that children is if we develop our children, we will lift up the future of our community. So we want to support the children. If we can come into a small business skills and do business and we are able to pay school fees for our children, that is our community development. If it is tree planting in order to create a good environment in our community and also future generation in terms of income, where we would harvest these trees and get income. So it's a choice of the community to come together in agreement with I Live Again Uganda to do development. So this is what we call community development. In a nutshell, trauma counseling, discipleship, faith-based. When we talk about discipleship and faith-based, it's very important to clarify the difference. Discipleship is where we work with the people to know more about God. But faith-based support is opportunity where we also do counseling with the pastors, especially this time the COVID has been so hard on pastors, and say, how are you feeling? How are you doing? Giving Bibles to the pastors and the churches, and then resettlement and then community development. Next slide, please. And then, as I've mentioned earlier, we have 3 locations of our offices. The first one is in Acholi Quarter, as I mentioned, is in Kampala. It's a slum. When you reach that place, across the hill, you would see magnificent building, a slum. So in Acholi Quarter, and then definitely in northern Uganda, where we are seated right now is in Gulu. Gulu is one of the central place for the tribe Acholi, where we are right now. It's our headquarters for I Live Again Uganda. And then the last office, which has been very, very key right now, I tell you, this is my heart, actually. Out of all the departments, these are refugees from South Sudan. If you're not aware, Uganda hosts the highest refugees in the continent of Africa. And unless any country has taken over, but 3rd in the entire world. Helping is a 3rd world country, developing country that has chosen to say, our home is opened. We have suffered also in one way or the other, but we have a place that we can receive you. And we have over 1.2 million refugees also in Uganda. And the majority definitely is from South Sudan. And where we are located is called Palabek Refugee Settlement. We have over 53,000 refugees who are in that place. And worst of it, the greatest percentage are children, which is so serious. And we do serious work also helping with the children in that place, helping women and helping men. So those are 3 locations where our office is. Next slide, brother. I don't know, this is a very, it's kind of a graphic design to give us a picture of my life as Benson and the life of the people that I serve. I grew up in a family that there is nothing that I would worry about as long as my parents were there. The joy of having parents together. We go playing with cousins and brothers, and we are so many. Christmas was one of my highly desired place and time where we would celebrate for a week, and you eat until you eat no more. The joy of family was bred. And this is life that I heard personally before war. But immediately in 1986, especially on my perspective, but for South Sudan, their war started in 1950s, and it has been happening. So from my perspective, violence came. Personally, for some of you know my story, I was also abducted for a day, at least with the rebels. I survived during gunfire where bullets are flying everywhere, and a day that you think you will never survive. But I survived. I ran for safety. As you can see, running for safety is a priority. People need to find a place. In northern Uganda, children during the peak of the war, around 4, actually depends on the distance from your home, from 3 p.m., you would see lines of hundreds and hundreds of children carrying their mats on their heads and blanket on their side, moving from all directions, coming to approach town to find a place of safety. And where do they sleep? They will sleep under verandas of different buildings within town. And we lost a lot. Education was lost. Our culture was lost. Everything, we lost it. And then from running for safety, this is where I Live Again Uganda comes with the approach of their trauma counseling. And many of them have testified before us. I thought life was meaningless. I wanted to commit suicide. I thought nobody cares. But today I can see a new beginning, freedom from what had happened in their life. And you see everybody excited to say, now I can move ahead. Now I can do something. I thought I was nothing. I thought nobody cares about me. And people begin to have new energy to continue doing the what. So let's go to the next slide. Yes. This is very clear. The word of God has been the source of encouragement to us because we have realized that it's not about what I know. It's not about my experience. It's not about my survival. As we look at the scripture, now you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is a part of it. We are here in the forefront, and many of them see us and say, hey, I Live Uganda, thank you for coming to help us. They don't know that there is a team also helping us to go forth with what we are doing. So I want to continue to bless the Lord for you being part of the body, to help where you can help so that we do what we do. Next slide. Oh, this is amazing. I'm very excited to share about this, especially when COVID-19 came, the world shattered. Everybody didn't know what to do. Programs were altered, and many organizations closed and they couldn't do anything until we came to IAFR, who is our partner, and we say, we can also play a role to fight this COVID-19. And we shared our passion together. And IAFR, you are there. You came together and say, what do you want to do? We said the first thing which we know is sensitization about COVID-19 is key. And how can we sensitize? we want you to be part of it. And after sensitization, there is part of sensitization which talked about washing of the hands. And there is one thing that I learned during COVID-19, that there are certain things that looks obvious in the lives of other people, but it's never obvious. This is something that we are remembered, and we even were recognized by the office of the Prime Minister, the government or the arm of the government called Office of the Prime Minister, recognized ILA as one of the organizations that has distributed washing soap to help the refugees from COVID-19 fight. So IAFR supported us, and over 8,000 bars of soap were given, by the way, to support and help people in the, with the refugees, not only refugees, in Acholi quarter, as you look at the pictures down there, which has 5 people there, not only because of the washing of the hands. Food was a challenge during this because there was a shutdown, and you cannot get to work anywhere. So in Acholi quarter, we see the help that came from IAFR. We were able to distribute food to the pastors, to our clients that are there, and also to other vulnerable people who are in Acholi quarter. And to the refugees, we were able to give the soap to lactating mothers, pregnant mothers, and children under nutrition were able to. And actually, you know, we are one of the organizations who are working with the refugees that are recognized in all the zones. You imagine 53,000, over 53,000 people who are refugees. They come from different zones. And in those zones, it is over 50 kilometers square. That is how big the land is where the refugees is. And children under nutrition come from all the corners. Expectant mothers come from all corners. So when they, and one of the things that IAFR also did that supported us is also with face masks. And everybody coming in the community, they would see the logo of I Live Uganda, and the government said, who are these people? So the service that we have done to the community that we serve has been very, very, very notable. Many people notice. As you look at the picture of the old man there, this is a man that definitely is living alone, cooking alone, surviving alone. And Francis, our operation manager, is there to encourage the man. And we brought food items and also detergents to support them. Among many things that we have done with the help of IAFR, these are just few of them. Next slide. You can see trauma counseling with children, amazing discipleship, giving Bible to support the pastors, and then the resettlement, as you can see there. Francis would share a lot. If it's okay with you, Francis, if I can share about this man. This gentleman is called Alfred. Alfred lived, Alfred was abducted by the rebels over 3 times that he survived. He would go and sometimes 6 months serving with the rebels, and sometimes 1 year, many times. And every time they abduct him again, they would want to kill him. He would escape. So he decided to leave northern Uganda and go to Acholi quarter to survive there. And as he was there was no any source of income other than stone quarry work. And you get a hammer and you hold the rocks and then you keep breaking it. But some of the rocks would be so huge that they would get a little bit of firewood in order to break into the big stones and breaking into the big stone. As he was crushing the stones, the metallic of the stones, the metallic in the hammer got crushed by the bigger stone, and the particles of of so much of the hammer all enter into his body, and there was nothing he could do even to remove it. He's one person that he was shot by the rebels, and at the back of his, at his back, he has a very big scar where he survived from those bullets, real bullets. And then when these particles of metal enter his body, it was so traumatic that brought a strong memory of his bullet survival while he was serving in the bush. When I say bush, I mean as a rebel. And those particles started moving through the bloodstream in his body and reached a point he could not walk. As you can see him, he's holding a stick there. He cannot walk. So with the support that came from I Live Uganda, we were able to take him to, there's a hospital that some of you know, is called St. Mary's Hospital, Lacho, and surgery was done. This is just this year. And yes, this year, right? Yes, this year, last month actually, they removed the particles, and within 2-3 days, the man is walking normally and is very excited. So he's very thankful for the work I Live Again is doing. And definitely they don't know there are partners behind us. And as you can see, community development, the pastoral team coming together and strategizing how they can lift up the life of children in Acholi Quarter. So in Acholi Quarter, the community development that they have chosen is to raise and lift up the children. And then the next one here is the Potter's House. The Potter's House is one of our greatest project that we want to see it established in a greater extent. We believe we have about 23 acres of land that God has given unto us. When we received the land, all our desires was, should we start a school to help? Should we start a vocational training? Should we start agricultural training? But one thing, we sat back and the Lord asked us, is that your plan or my plan? So we had to go and gather as a team. Trisha was part of the team. We gathered into that land and we began to cry to God. What should we do to with this land you've given us? And the Lord spoke to us the story where God sent Jeremiah and said, go to the potter's house. And when Jeremiah went to the potter's house and said, what do you see? And the Lord said, this place shall be called the potter's house, a place of encounter. Pottery is clearly therapeutic in a way that people that lived in war zone who suffered so much, they are like clay that does not have even a shape. But through pottery, they would be molded to become a special instrument of use of any kind, whether for great noble purposes or whether for any kind. It is pottery, which is therapy. So Potter's House is, we are looking at the design in that picture of what we want to see into that land. Next slide, please. I already mentioned this to you. We have different agencies, different charities that are helping refugees in refugees in Palabek. So I Live Again Uganda is also one of the organizations that is helping in psychosocial support with the refugees. Next slide. Wow. I Live Again Uganda is the only organization that has been given the opportunity to sit and talk with the cultural leaders from South Sudan. Anybody you are seeing in the picture there is a cultural leader from different tribes. And we have over 16 different tribes who are within this refugee settlement. And as I mentioned earlier, the war in South Sudan or in Africa majorly are tribal. So we gathered them together and shared with them what it means forgiveness and reconciliation. And since then, we are the recognized organization that they say we can trust with the people from South Sudan. So these were cultural leaders, and actually the t-shirt that they're wearing is written a peacemaker. Thank you. Next slide. Wow. Yes, we don't neglect children. I Live Again believe that when you build a child, you build a nation. You're building a future generation. And if you raise a child in a way a child should be, you know that the future of that generation, you know that the future of nation is bright. So we are using what we call music, dance, different therapies, definitely. But in this one here, we're using dance as a way of counseling with the children. Some of it perhaps is not in this PowerPoint, but we also do what we call drawing. They do drawing, and we begin to sit with them. Why have you drawn these pictures? And most of the pictures that the children would draw is related to war, related to gun, and related to army. And we begin to sit with them, and we realize that people think that children are supposed to be seen but not heard. That is very wrong. Children should be heard. They would have a lot to share to bring healing because they saw what happened. Some of these children walk hundreds of kilometers, by the way, to come to Uganda to survive in order to see them as you see them dancing there. They are stories themselves. So children is one of our key things. I know there's so much that we would like to talk about, and I know I'm so excited. If it comes to talking about I Live Again Uganda, I know it is great. And surely there will be time for question and answers and time to pray. But briefly, I want to stop here. If anybody in the future would have questions, I am excited. Thank you so much, Laura, for giving me opportunity to share my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Benson. I know we also had a little video clip. Should we play that for everyone as well?
This is the time. Let's
Okay,
play the video.
perfect.
Rob, can you share sound too, computer sound?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Benson and Francis and Ruth. And I want to open it up for everybody to be able to ask some questions now. We have a few minutes.